Hi everyone, my name is Iben and welcome to another video in the road to Planet Zoo 2. This week we have gotten a whole bunch of new news on Planet Zoo 2. We have the Zoopedia that was released. We have two new pieces of footage that we can go through. So let's just do that in this video, starting off with the new Zoopedia. I'm going to focus on the returning animals because I think the other animals we've already seen quite a lot. So we'll start with the Wisent or the European bison. I really like this, I really like its inclusion as well. I do hope we are going to be getting the American bison either through a free update or at launch. I think that's also a very important animal in a zoo game. However, I do really like the European Wisent. If we compare it with the older version, I do see some changes in the texture work on the face. I think the model is probably more or less the same, or has been tweaked at least a little bit, but I do really like how it looks now. I think it's a pretty cool animal to have in the game. Next up, we have another animal that was already semi-confirmed because we had the donation boxes, but the common hippo also returns in this game. And we have this one single screenshot shared by Frontier. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the animal in the best light. So I'm going to show you two frames from the reel as well. And in here you can see the animal a little bit better, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. It is a much slimmer hippo compared to the ones that you see in zoos, but because of the wildlife reserve feature, I do think we're going to see a little bit more animals that are build the way they are in the wild and not specifically in zoos. If you compare this once again with the older model, I think you can really see the upgrades. I really like it a lot. I do love the hairs on both the snout and the ears. I think that looks really amazing. Next up is the African penguin, an animal that I'm really happy about returning because I am going to be building a sea life center for my first project, and sea lives always have these small penguins in their setup, so I really needed an animal like that, so I'm really glad we're getting it in the base game. If we compare it to the old animal, I think they are pretty much the same. I don't see any major changes in between them. There are probably some small tweaks that I don't see right now, but I think all in all this was already an animal that looked really good. I do say that the texture or the shader again is a little bit higher detail than the previous version, and the colors do seem a little bit more matte than the original game. However, the lighting in these both pictures are different, so I'm not entirely sure if we can really compare those things. So first of all, we've got this gameplay trailer, and this was a bit of the footage that we have seen ahead of time. So I'm not gonna dive too deep in all of this footage because we pretty much already discussed a lot of this. But there are two things that I really want to highlight because I spotted a few pieces that I think are really interesting. Here in the back we can actually see one of the, I guess the filters or some other kind of mechanic building which are making their return, and if you look next to it you can actually already see the solar panel as well. I'm kinda sad that we still don't have a separate solar panel that we can place on top of buildings and that we then can like connect up to a battery or something that the mechanics can go to. I really don't like the idea that the solar panel is still like one big building piece that we have to plop down and that we can't put on roofs. I genuinely hope that this is something that they will add in the future. I want to talk a little bit about the final part of the footage that we were shown right here, because I absolutely love how these waves crash into the beach. I think that is absolutely gorgeous, and I really hope that the border of the zoo is somewhere deeper inside of the water and not like at the border of the beach, so that we can build a little bit in this area. That would be absolutely fantastic. The aquarium building right here, and I want to pause for a quick second because we do get a better look at the big stonefish sculpture, which I think is really cool. I really liked it a lot, and it reminded me a lot about the sculpture that you get to see in Paradisa, so I'm really excited for that one. And when we go inside of this aquarium, we do get to see a bunch more marine pieces, and that is something that I'm really excited about. You can already see them right here. We have these large buoy pieces hanging from the ceiling. We have these large seaweed kind of sculptures. There seems to be like a kind of sturgeon-like sculpture as well. But at the bottom right here, we see a ship's wheel, which is really cool, and next to it we see a giant clam, which I also am very excited about. If we continue on, we can see the sturgeon even closer. We can also spot a new kind of spotlight right at the top, and in the back we can see the new lights that I talked about earlier. And we can also see a live buoy attached to one of the pillars right there, which I think is really cool. I made a bunch of those in Planet Zoo 1 with a bunch of pieces, and I'm really glad to see that we're actually getting that as an actual physical piece in this game. So if you're subscribed to the newsletter of Planet Zoo 2, you might have gotten this email that teased the next animal that is going to be shown in the Zoopedia next week. I'm saying might because apparently a bunch of people didn't receive an email even though they are subscribed to it, so it's a little bit weird. I hope Frontier can look into that. But this to me clearly shows a red panda. I am really ready to see that one, and I know Goron is also very excited about it. Together with this teaser, we also got a behind the scenes look of one of the zoos that was used in the trailers, so let's take a look at that footage right now. Starting with this footage, you can already see two cool things. First of all, we are getting two benches and a bin right here from the South theme. And I'm going to focus on that a little bit right now because this is going to be important information later on, so keep that in mind. In this part of the trailer we can see the new water again, and what is really important here is that the water isn't clear. It has a darker brownish color, which points to me that the water is once again recolorable, and I'm really happy about that. I've really liked all of the pictures and the footage of the very clear water, but I also really want to be able to make water look like this, and I'm really happy to see that. Here we can see one of the African bins returning, and on the left we can see some pieces from the New World set. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on in this video, so keep this in mind, but it is interesting to see that we are getting the African bins here, because to me this is one of the first pieces of evidence that we are actually getting the full African theme once again in this game. In this frame, we can see the secretary bird use the new forage box, and I really like it. All of the pieces inside of them look incredible. But if you look in the back of this frame, you can also see a kind of coil right there, and I think this is some kind of snake enrichment piece. That is something that is used a lot in bird shows that have secretary birds. They often use a snake prop for them, so it's really cool to see that as an enrichment piece right here. Here in this frame, we can spot even more pieces from the original African set. We can see the mud walls returning, and we can see the monkey sign right in the back. And once again, the bin from the African theme. Again, pointing more and more towards the fact that the African theme is one of the 4 returning themes in the sequel. So here we see another bench from the South theme, and next to it, another bin. So we already have 2 benches and 2 bins for this South theme, pointing even further to me that this is a separate theme from the African theme. This next frame I really love, because I love how this shade cover here is made out of an actual tree and then has some thatch on top of it. It's really beautiful, and we can see another bunch of pieces from the Indian theme returning, the market pieces. Those are really cool. If you look in the back, it's really easy to miss it. We have these really cool lights, and in between these 2 sculptures right there, we have that little African branch that we have in the African theme. So yet another African theme piece returning into this game. can almost miss it, but right in the back right here, you have the old big lion mask piece. Next to it, 2 African theme pieces, and right at the bottom we see the other African bin from the first game. So for me, this is the final nail in the coffin for the African theme to be one of the returning themes to Planet Zoo 2. I don't think it would have made sense for the South theme to basically have 4 different types of bins. That doesn't really work in my opinion. In Planet Zoo, the themes usually only had 3 max. But yeah, for me this is the confirmation. I think the African theme has so many pieces returning already that I don't think they are all just thrown into the South theme. I think it is a separate theme that is coming back to the game. And now that we have seen all the footage, I think there's a conclusion we can make here. The themes that are certain to make a return to Planet Zoo 2 are the East Asia and the African theme. Like I mentioned in the trailer analysis part, I am pretty sure that the African theme is returning, and this picture from the PC magazine really is the nail in the coffin for the East Asia theme, because we just see the actual theme pieces being used here. The actual building set is here in this picture with the hawksbill turtle. I also really love the young hawksbill turtle, and I really love the rockwork in the back, but that's not important right now. This is confirmation for the East Asia theme returning to the sequel. Then next up, I think the 2 themes that are likely to make a return are classical and India. A lot of the market pieces from the Indian theme have been spotted in the trailers and in other pieces of footage so far, like the bags with the oranges, the pineapples, the bananas, and in the bottom picture in the top left corner we can even see the box where the oranges come in. However, we haven't really seen any real Indian theme pieces yet, and that makes me a little bit worried that the Indian theme might not be added to the game, and that these pieces are just put inside of the Planet Zoo theme. I hope we get more information about that in the future. And for the classical theme, we have this picture of the big aviary. There we could have seen the 2 chimneys in the back, and frankly, that's all the evidence that I need to know that the classical theme is going to be one of the returning ones. Frankly, it makes the most sense. It is a theme to build classical zoos with. It was specifically made for that, and I don't think it would have made sense to not include it in the sequel. This is a kind of base game theme that you kind of need to make an old city zoo, and the other themes that the game already offers right now don't seem to fit that niche just yet, so I think the classical theme is a prime candidate to come back in the sequel. So what about the New World theme? I think we also spotted a bunch of pieces from that theme. Yeah, that's correct. Especially in this trailer, we also saw these pieces, and these are from the New World theme. But I do think there's a little caveat with that, because if we look at the trailer again and some other pictures, we see a similar kind of shape here. These are a similar kind of setup, not exactly from the New World theme from the first game, but it really looks like it, and I'm starting to feel that they took these pieces from the New World theme, made some new versions, and put it into a different theme. Another thing that really makes me think that the New World theme might not be in the sequel is because one of the primary pieces of that theme is this wooden set, and the wooden set already exists here in the North set, so I think that would really be 2 extremely similar pieces of scenery, and I don't think that they would do that. So how do I feel about these returning themes? Well, in all honesty, my original expectation was that the North, East, West, and South themes were basically the original base game themes, but restyled, and that those were going to be the returning themes. However, as I mentioned earlier, our contact at Frontier has confirmed that these are the new themes. So all in all, I felt a little bit weird about that, but I'm kind of glad that we are getting some themes back from the original game as is. Because the base game themes benefit the most from full flexicolor and scaling. There are many pieces within all of these sets that I never ended up using because they weren't entirely flexicolor or because they were absolutely massive. And that's the main reason why I used a lot of pieces from later DLCs, because they were smaller and more flexicolor. The African theme, for instance, has a whole bunch of pieces that I wish I could have used in my zoos, but they were just too massive and I never really ended up using them. Being able to rescale these and flexicolor them is going to be absolutely incredible, and I'm really looking forward to that. The same goes for some of these pieces from the East Asia pack. I think the stone set is going to be really cool if it's flexicolor. I think the roof pieces are ones that I never ended up using because they were not flexicolor, and I always used the other clay roof, so that means that I never really ended up using them. The sculptures as well, they are really large, and I hope that we're going to be able to scale them down a little bit. So if those pieces are coming back into the game and it really looks like it, then I think they're going to be a lot more useful than the first game. And again, the same can be applied to the classical theme. Just look at that massive lion head. If we're able to scale that one down a lot, then I probably will end up using a lot more. And the copper roofs look really good and the textures are incredible, but I never really liked the colors that much, and having those as flexicolor ones would be absolutely incredible. That being said, an updated East Asia theme would have been great. Don't get me wrong, the East Asia set is one of my favorite sets in the original game. I thought it was really good and I liked it a lot. But in the meantime, Frontier has really upped their game when it comes to the theme sets in their games. And I don't think the East Asia set looks as good as the one in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Because if you look at that one, the roofs in here look absolutely gorgeous. It looks absolutely incredible, and I'm a little bit sad that we're not gonna get these into Planet Zoo 2. Like, in my opinion, if you had copy-pasted this directly into Planet Zoo 2, then I would have been absolutely ecstatic. This is such a gorgeous theme, and it looks so much better than the East Asia theme because it looks a lot more realistic, and that's where the current game and the sequel is going for. So yeah, I like the fact that we're getting those themes again, but I would have wished to have seen a refurbished version of it, just like they refurbished the original Planet Zoo theme. Speaking of copy-pasting a theme from another game to this game, I do still feel that the game is missing a dedicated marine or underwater theme. If you look at this theme from Planet Coaster 2, all of the submarine pieces, all of the pipes, all of the valves, all of these cool pieces would be absolutely incredible to have in Planet Zoo 2 to build these kinds of underwater aquariums, which often feature this kind of look and feel like an aquarium or a submarine, and I really miss it in this context, and I really hope that we're going to get a theme like that in the future, because I do think it looks really good and I'm really missing it with the themes that we've seen so far. So let me know, are you excited about all the themes that we now know are returning, and are you excited for the new reveals that we're going to get next week in the Zoopedia? There are 9 animals waiting for us, and I am excited to see what they have in store. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to keep up to date with the latest news on Planet Zoo 2, well then this is the channel for you. Please do everything you want to do, like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you again in another episode of The Road to Planet Zoo 2.